ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. Today morning we are discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, canto number 11, chapter 3, text 35. Shri Pipalayana Uvacha Sthityudbhava Pralaya Heturasya Yat Swapna Jagara Sushuptishu Sadbahischa Dehendriya Suridayani Charantena Sanjivitani Tava Vehi Param Narendra Sanjivitani Tadavehi Param Narendra. Shri Vipalayana Uvacha Sthityudbhava Pralaya Heturasya Yat Swapna Jagara Susuptishu Sadbahischa Dehendriya Suridayani Charantena Sanjivitani Tadavade Avehi Param Narendra. Shri Vipalayana Uvacha Sthityudbhava Pralaya Heturasya Yat Swapna Jagara Susuptishu Sadbahischa Dehendriya Suridayani Charantena Sanjivitani Tadavehi Param Narendra. Shri Pipalayana Uvacha Suptisu Sadbahisha Dehendriya Suridayani Charantiyena Sanjivitani Tadavehi Param Narendra. Shri Vipalayana Uvacha Sthityudbhava Pralaya Heturasya Yat Swapna Jagara Susuptishu Sadbahischa Dehendriya Suridayani Charantena Sanjivitani Tadavehi Param Narendra. Shri Pipalayana Uvacha Sthityudbhava Pralaya Heturasya Yat swapna jagara susuptishu sadbahishya Dehendriyashu hridayani charanti yena Sanjeevitani tadavehi param narendra. Mataji's. Shri Pippalayan uvacha Titudbhava pralaya heturasya Yat swapna jagara susuptishu satvahishya Dehendriyasu hridayani charanti yena Sanjeevitani tadavehi param narendra. Word for meaning. Shri Pippalayana uvacha. Shri Pippalayana said, Sthiti of the creation, Udbhava, maintenance, Pralaya, and destruction, Hetuhu, the cause, Ahetuhu, itself without cause, Asya, of this material universe, Yat, which, Swapna, in dream, Jagara, wakefulness, Shushuptishu, in deep sleep or unconsciousness, Sat, which exists, Bahishya, and external to them as well, Deha, of the material bodies of the living entities, Indriya, the senses, Asu, life airs, Hridayani, and minds, Charanti, act, Yena, by which, Sanjeevitani, given life, Tat, that, Avehi, please know, Param, to be the supreme, Nara Indra, O King. Translation and purport by the followers of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Sri Pipalayana said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the cause of the creation, maintenance and destruction of this universe. Yet, He has no prior cause. He pervades the various states of wakefulness, dreaming and unconsciousness, unconscious deep sleep, and also exists beyond them. By entering the body of every living being as the super soul, He enlivens the body, senses, life airs, and mental activities, and thus all the subtle and gross organs of the body begin their functions. My dear King, know that personality of Godhead to be the supreme. Purport. In the previous verse, King Nimi inquired about various aspects of the Absolute Truth, namely Narayana, Brahman, and Paramatma. Now the sage Sri Pipalayana explains these three features of the Absolute Truth in the same order in which the king mentioned them. Sthiti Udbhava Pralaya Hetuhu refers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead who expands himself as the triple Purusha incarnations, Mahavishnu, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, and Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, as described in the Srimad Bhagavatam 131, Jagrihe Paurusham Rupam, Bhagavan Mahadibihi, Sambhutam Shodashakalam, Adav Loka Sisrikshaya. In the beginning of the creation, the Lord first expanded himself in the universal form of the Purusha incarnation and manifested all the ingredients of the material creation. And thus, at first, there was the creation of the 16 principles of material action. This was for the purpose of creating the material universe. Thus, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayana is mentioned here as Hetuhu, or the supreme cause of the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the cosmic situation. Still, there is no cause of the Lord Himself. He is a Hetuhu. As expressed in the Brahma Samhita, Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam, the Supreme Lord is the cause of all causes, and being the eternal absolute truth, He has no cause of Himself. The word Ahetuhu has also been explained by Srila Jiva Goswami to indicate that the Supreme Lord has His original form as Krishna in His own transcendental abode called Krishna Loka. Since Krishna is always engaged in His blissful pastimes in the company of his eternally liberated associates, he is aloof from the affairs of this world, which is created by its external potency known as Maya. Therefore, it is stated, Jagrihe Paurusham Rupam. The Lord expands himself as Narayana and Vishnu to facilitate the gross illusion and gradual rectification of the conditioned souls. The Lord's aloofness from the material creation is also described in the Vedas. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. The absolute truth has nothing to do, since everything is done self-sufficiently by his multipotencies. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has pointed out that even though the Supreme Lord Krishna is ahetuhu, or causeless and aloof from the cause of material creation, the Lord is also described in this verse as hetuhu, or the ultimate cause of the creation, maintenance and annihilation of the material manifestation, because he expands himself as Paramatma, or the super soul, who acts as the prime mover of the cosmic manifestation. The word ahetuhu may also be understood in another way. In Bhagavad-gita 7:5, the Lord says, Apareyam idastvanyam prakritim viddhime param jiva bhutam havaho yayedam daryate jagat. The conditioned living entities, jiva bhuta, desire to engage in sense gratification with their material senses, manasasthani indriyani prakritisthani karshati. Thus the creation of the material world becomes necessary. In fact, the material cosmic manifestation continues to exist because of the desires of the conditioned souls to exploit it. Yayedam dharyate jagat. The government must create a prison to accommodate those citizens who are inclined to criminal activity. There is no need for any citizen to live in the obnoxious conditions of the prison, but because a certain portion of the population is inclined towards antisocial behavior, the prison becomes necessary. In a higher sense, the prisoners themselves can be considered the hetuhu, or the cause for the construction of the prison. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead expands his internal potency according to his own desires to increase the ananda, or transcendental bliss, of himself and his pure devotees. But he manifests the material universe in response to the illicit desires of the conditioned souls to live a life of sense gratification in willful forgetfulness of him. Therefore, the conditioned living entities themselves can be considered the hetuhu, or cause of the material manifestation. The external potency of the Lord Maya, who is charged with the duty of the material manifestation, is called Chaya, or the shadow of the Lord's internal potency. Srishti sthiti pralaya sadhana shakti reka chaye vayasya bhavanani bibharpit durga. The Lord does not personally desire to manifest the shadow potency called Durga or Maya. The blissful spiritual planets eternally manifest contain the best possible facilities for the living entities who are parts and parcels of the Lord. But the conditioned souls, rejecting the inconceivable eternal living arrangements the Lord has kindly provided, prefer to seek their misfortune in the shadow kingdom called the material world. Thus, both Durga and the conditioned living entities may be considered the hetuhu, or cause of the material manifestation. Since Lord Krishna is ultimately Sarva Karana Karanam, the cause of all the causes, he is to be known as the ultimate supreme cause. But how the Lord functions as the supreme cause of the material manifestation, Sthiti Udbhava Pralaya Hetuhu, is described in the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad-gita. Upadrashtanumantacha. The Lord acts as an overseer and permitter. The actual desire of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is stated very clearly in Bhagavad-gita, Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. The Lord desires every living entity to give up the shadow potency of Maya and return to the actual substance, Vastavam Vastu, which is the eternal kingdom of God. All the various aspects of the Absolute Truth are being described. The Absolute Truth is absolutely one, ultimately one, as stated in this verse, Tad Avehi Param Narendra. King Nimi inquired about Brahman, and now this verse says, Yat Swapna Jagara Susuptishu and Sad Bahishcha. The Lord's all-pervading feature within wakefulness, dreaming, and deep sleep, and his existence beyond these three mental states are understood to be manifestations of Brahman, the spiritual potency of the Lord. Finally, the statement Dehendriyashu Hridayani Charanti Yena Sanjivitani can be understood to refer to the Paramatma feature of the Lord. When the Lord expands himself as the Kshirodakashaya Vishnu, the third of the three Vishnu features, and enters the hearts of every living entity, the gross and subtle organs of the body becomes enlivened for the continuing the chain of the fruitive activities called karma. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the multifarious manifestations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead do not compromise his supremacy as one without a second. The absolute truth is Paravyomanatha, or the Lord of the spiritual sky, who appears as two-armed Shyamasundara, as four-armed, as eight-armed, or as having 1,000 arms. In each aspect of his body is eternal and full of bliss and knowledge, Satchidananda Murti. He appears on the earth as Vasudeva and within the causal ocean as Mahavishnu. He lies on the milk ocean as Kshirodakshaya Vishnu and rescues his helpless young devotee as Narasimhadeva. Appearing as Lord Ramachandra, he acts as a perfect king. And appearing as Krishna, he steals the heart of everyone and especially of the young beautiful women. All these features of the Lord are indicated by the word Narayana, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just as the word President indicates not only the official duties of the President, but his personal family life and long intimate friendship as well. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, when one transcends an official understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and comes to the superior status of love of God, one can understand the Lord to be Krishna, the cause of all causes. The innumerable Vishnu expansions of the Lord are also understood to be plenary portions of Lord Krishna. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. As the Lord himself states in the Bhagavad-gita, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavaha. These points have been explicitly clarified in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, as well as in the opening verse, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Janmadhyasya Yato Anvayat Itaratascha Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shiyuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenbandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shvas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Shri Viplayan Uvacha Sthiti Udbhava Pralaya Hetur Aheturasya Yat Swapna Jagara Susuptishu Sadbhahisha Dehendriyasu Hridayani Charantiyena Sanjivitani Tat Avahi Param Narendra. Sri Viplayan said the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the cause of the creation, maintenance and destruction of this universe. Yet he has no prior cause. He pervades the various states of wakefulness, dreaming and unconscious sleep and also exists beyond them. By entering the body of every living being as the super soul, he enlivens the body, senses, life, airs and mental activities. And thus all the subtle and gross organs of the body begin their functions. My dear king, know that personality of Godhead to be the Supreme. In this connection, in the 11th canto, as the series is going on, the discussion is going on between King Nimi and Navayogendras. And before this, 3 aspects of the Lord were inquired by King Nimi. So starting from here, as it was asked, sequentially the concepts are answered. In this particular shloka, Sri Pipalayana Muni he is answering about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, before starting discussion on this shloka, we seek blessings of all the exalted devotees here, senior devotees, so that we can speak something worthwhile, meaningful for self-purification. So, the particular thing which is emphasized here in the purport is Jai SriSriRadhaRasbihariTemple ki jai, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ji ki jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anand Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. So Krishna expands himself in various forms, specifically the personal form of the Lord is specifically emphasized. Now why Krishna expands himself, that is mentioned. Why Krishna creates the material world, that is also mentioned. It's very nicely said that just like Lord expands himself out of his own internal potency, that is for increasing bliss of himself and of his devotees. Similarly, when the living entity with illicit desire to enjoy sense gratification wants to get separated from Krishna, Krishna expands through material energy, and that results into creation of the material world, material manifestation. Regularly here in the purport, read in the purports that Krishna has created material world for the living entities' desire, so that they can enjoy material desires, and at the same time they can attain gradual purification. So that way, Krishna is mentioned here as Hetu and Ahetu. Hetu means Krishna is the cause, and at the same time he is not the cause. Because, as Brahma Samhita Lord Brahmaji says, that Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchidanand Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. Krishna has no cause. He is the cause of all the causes, but he does not have any cause beyond him. At the same time, here he is mentioned as Ahetuhu, not having cause, and cause both. Because Krishna does not directly manifest the material nature. Everything is done through material Durga Devi. That is why Krishna is not the direct cause. At the same time, because ultimately Krishna sanctions, and that is why he is known as Hetu also here. Because living entity desires to get away from Krishna, to get separated from Krishna and enjoy material desires. Apareyam itasthvanyam prakritim vidyame param jiva bhutam mahabaho yedam dharit e jagad. The living entity thinks that I get separated from Krishna and then I can enjoy. Ichcha dvesha samuthena dvand mohena bharata. Samoham saro bhuteshu sarge yanti parantapa. So jiva thinks, living entity thinks in an illusion way, because of the envy of Krishna, that if I can get control over everything, if I can enjoy material world, and that is why Krishna sends the living entity to the material world. Krishna sends us to the material world. And coming here, we try to exploit the material nature. In 13th chapter, Krishna says that Purusha Prakritis-tohi bhungte Prakriti Jan Gunan Karanam Guna Sangosya Sad Asad Yoni Janmashu. Karanam Guna Sangosya, because of the contact with the material modes of nature, Sad Asad Yoni Janmashu. We have desire to enjoy material sense gratification, and because of various desires, we get different bodies. Purusha Prakritis-tohi. Here, Purusha means the living entity, Jiva. So that Jiva, Prakritis-tohi, which is situated in the modes of material nature, Prakriti, because of contact with modes of nature, gets various bodies and tries to enjoy. But when we come, then we realize that nothing is working. And everywhere we see people try to control material nature. And Prabhupada says that the last snare of the controllership, desire of controllership, is to become God. People think that if I enjoy in this way, I'll be happy. If I get this money, bank balance or car or bungalow, I'll be more happy. But the news is evident that nobody in the material world can be happy, because it is ultimately dukhalam ashashvatam. And when we go out and meet people, we can realize this. Last week we were doing Sankirtan at Juhu beach. And as we entered Juhu beach area, we were 5-6 of us. And one young boy came and he started dancing so enthusiastically. He was so happy, he started running literally and enthusiastically circumambulating all of us. Very, very enthusiastically. And I thought, we don't get so much enthusiasm in Kirtan, how he is getting. Then we sat down for Kirtan. He was also sitting for Kirtan for some time. After a while, when we were changing the tune, there was some gap. Then he told me, Prabhuji, aaj mujhe ek naya jeevan mila hai. I got a new life today. I asked him what happened. Very nice, what happened? He said that last night I had a fierce fight with my manager, with the boss. and बुरी तरह से पिटाई हो गई थी. And I was fired from the job. I was frustrated. I did not get sleep last night. And today I had come here to commit suicide. But here, he got so much bliss in Sankirtan. So, no matter what people try, but material things cannot give happiness. And we have a number of times tried it and failed, but still, illusory potency of Krishna is so strong that it completely canvases us that yes, you can be happy. Even after getting punches and kicks, we still have hopes. Somewhere corner in the heart, we have hopes that yes, material sense gratification can give me some happiness. But it is wise to take advice from experienced devotees, to hear the realization of experienced devotees, and just walk in that way. Just like Prabhupada says that two kinds of people. In religion, people hear from others' experience and learn. And those who are not in religion, they have to undergo experience. So we hear so many experiences of people. News is full of that. I was doing some Google search, suicide cases. Which field of where there are various industries and various fields, which field people have committed maximum number of suicides? So maximum number of suicides are found from the Bollywood and Hollywood, the actors and actresses. It's so glamorous life. People think that fan following and bodily beauty, influence, possession, but despite of that, people commit suicide. It's not giving happiness. And Krishna creates the material universe, material world, so that here it acts as a platform that people can try to enjoy sense gratification, fulfill their desires, and in the course of trying to fulfill their desires, gradually they can get realization that this is not the thing which I am looking for. Krishna consciousness will give me happiness. So Krishna creates the jail. But Jiva thinks that everything is available here, so let me continue. But Krishna is not happy by that. Krishna wants that all the living entities come back to him. And that is Krishna's anxiety. Krishna does not feel pleasure when he sees that Jivas are trying to be happy. And Prabhupada says that the last snare of controllership is to become God. So many people, especially Mayavadis, they claim that we are God. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he also met Prakashanand Saraswati and so many sannyasi disciples, they addressed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Namo Narayana. And then Mahaprabhu replied, Krishna Matirastu. So in that way, Prabhupada says in purport, it's true because they address Mahaprabhu as Narayan, he is Narayan himself. So Prabhupada was in Kumbh Mela with his disciples, and disciples would bring so many scholars and Vidwan to discuss with Prabhupada. And one day, devotees brought one Mayavadi sannyasi. He claimed to be very scholarly. And Prabhupada started discussion. Prabhupada very badly defeated him with arguments, logic, shastric evidences. And Prabhupada proved that Krishna is person, God is a person. And then person says, no, God does not have any form. We all are God. I am also God, you are also God. And Prabhupada defeated him, but he was not still ready to understand. Then what to say? Then devotees who were standing nearby, disciples, they were getting infuriated. Prabhupada explained him, still not understanding. And they thought that isko kuch lesson sikhana padega, kuch part sikhana padega. Then they told that, okay, we have ISKCON tent here, you sleep here tonight, overnight. That Mayavadi slept. And what devotees did is, they locked the toilet blocks and kept the key with them. And this Mayavadi got up in the morning, and as he got the nature's call pressure, he started rushing towards the toilet block. And he saw the doors are locked. Then he came back, who locked the door? Give the key. And devotees came, here is the key. Open the door. First say I am not God, then we'll give the First say that I am not God, then I will give the key. I said, no, give me the key. I said, first say I am not God. I said, okay, I am not God. Open the door. Fatafat, they opened the door. They finished his business and came out. And then I said, that was my Leela. People are so adamant and foolish. Even after getting, one devotee was distributing book, and in the train, and the person, he said, I am God, मैं भगवान हूँ. And the devotee, how Krishna gives intelligence? That devotee said that, भगवान है तो उड़ के चले जाओ, train में क्यों जा रहे हो? So, but then people are so foolish. So that's the last snare of living entity to become God, to declare himself as God. But Krishna is not happy that living entities are suffering in this jail in the material world. Krishna wants that all of them come back. Krishna lives in that blissful abode golok nivasati golok eva nivasati akhilatma bhuto. That abode of Krishna where katha ganam naptyam gamanapi. Every step is a dance, every word is a song. And we live there, we originally belong to that place, but because of some reason, envy towards Krishna, we come back. And Krishna wants us, all of us, back there in the spiritual world. Here in the purport it is mentioned that best possible facilities are availed by Krishna in that abode for all of us. But we give up that. So Krishna is not happy. Just like Prabhupada gives that example, that story, that the son of a rich father, he rebels against the father and tries to enjoy himself. The father is not happy that my son is away. Father wants him back somehow. So Krishna tries all these ways. And then Krishna's desire that all the living entities come back. We see similarly all the incarnations of the Lord are aimed at same thing, to perform beautiful, blissful, enchanting pastimes and thus attract the living entities back to Krishna Loka. We see same thing. Just like living entities' desire to enjoy is reciprocated by Krishna by creating the material universe. Similarly, Krishna, when he wants to expand, he wants to expand his bliss and his devotees' bliss, then Krishna expands himself. And then various incarnations, Krishna comes. Though Krishna does not have any duty to perform, natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate, natat samaha cha adhikasya drishyate, parasya shaktir vividaiva shruyate, swabhaviki jnana bala kriya cha. Krishna has no obligation, no duties to perform, but still, Krishna, everything is done through his multifarious energies. And it's all aimed at just increasing Krishna's bliss and his devotees' bliss. And when especially Krishna comes as the Swayam Bhagavan, Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shyam Sundar Krishna, he plays so many beautiful pastimes. And Krishna just desires and everything is executed by his internal potency. So it's like we see that Krishna lifted Govardhan hill. And when Krishna lifted Govardhan hill, it's mentioned in the 10th canto, it's mentioned that when Indra started pouring torrents of rains, then everybody was in anxiety. There was no difference between lower level of water, higher level of land, or lower level of land. Everywhere it was the same level of water. Everybody was in anxiety. Everybody was drowning, and just they were calling, Krishna, Krishna, save us. And Krishna, he ran from his home to Govardhan to lift Govardhan hill. It's mentioned, Prabhupada mentions there, that when Krishna was running from his courtyard to Govardhan to lift Govardhan hill, what happened is, Krishna has multifarious potencies. One of the potencies, Samharika Shakti, she got activated and arrangement was made because of the arrangement of Samharika Shakti. Wherever Krishna was running, that much area there was no rain, and everywhere there was rain. So that Krishna's turban and dhoti does not become wet, and Krishna's beauty is not affected. So that's beautiful pastimes of Krishna. Similarly, just like Trinavarta, Mother Yashoda, she was playing with Krishna, she was tossing Krishna in the air, and Krishna was liking it, Krishna was smiling. And then His Holiness Radha Govind Maharaj explains very nicely, very beautifully. Maha says, जब भगवान को मैया हवा में उछाल रही थी, तो भगवान को लग रहा था और ऊपर जाना चाहिए, और ऊपर उछालना चाहिए. But then Mother Yashoda has limitation. And as Krishna desired that और ऊपर जाना है हवा में, so immediately Krishna's internal potency sent Trinavarta. And then Trinavarta came, lifted Krishna, and then Krishna went up to many, many heights. And then Krishna thought, okay, he was having nice ride. अभी ठीक है, ride हो गया, तो अभी इस विमान को landing कराना है. And then, because of that, Krishna became very heavy. And then he was dragged down, Trinavarta was dragged down, and then he died. So that is Krishna just desires. Krishna desires, and everything is executed by his multifarious potencies to increase his bliss and his devotees' bliss. Similarly, when Krishna is stealing butter, Krishna wants to increase the pleasure of Mother Yashoda. Just like in Damodar Leela, Maharaj explains again that Mother Yashoda keeps Lord Krishna aside on the ground and then goes to save that milk. So Krishna gets very angry. And Krishna starts thinking, Maharaj says, कितनी कंजूस मैया है, 9 लाख गाय और इतना सारा दूध है, और 1 लीटर दूध बचाने के लिए मुझे बाजू में रख दिया. और वो दूध से क्या बनाने वाली है मैया? संदेश, पेड़ा, वही मुझे खिलाने वाली है। तो अभी तो डायरेक्ट मैं माँ का स्तनपान कर रहा हूँ, पर फिर भी मुझे साइड में मेरी इतनी भी वैल्यू नहीं है। एंड देन कृष्ण बिकेम वेरी एंग्री। ही थॉट दैट अभी मैं ऐसा कुछ करूँगा, मेरी कोई वैल्यू नहीं है, ऐसा कुछ करूँगा कि और ज़्यादा खर्चा करना पड़ेगा। मैं जाऊँगा तहस नहस कर दूँगा सब कुछ नुकसान करूँगा, दूध मक्खन घी सब कुछ, और उसके बाद ये सब बटर वगैरह इतना डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करूँगा, सब समाप्त हो जाएगा। और उसके बाद इतना अधिक खाऊंगा, आई विल ईट मोर देन लिमिट, इससे बीमार पड़ जाऊंगा और मुझे मथुरा हॉस्पिटल लेके जाना पड़ेगा, ऐसे बोलते महाराज। और खर्चा होगा। So that is Krishna's desire to reciprocate with his devotees. Mother Yashoda wants to serve Krishna, and Mother Yashoda takes anxiety for Krishna. So same thing is mentioned, that Krishna desires that all the living entities come back. Krishna comes, perform this beautiful, enchanting, blissful pastime so that we all get attracted to Krishna. Tava kathamritam tapta jivan kavirpi reditam kalmashapaham. So this enchanting pastimes are the only solace for the living entities who are tormented in the material modes of nature by the three tap. And that desire is carried by devotees of Krishna also. Similarly, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when Krishna desires that Jiva should come back, out of his excessive mercy, compassion, magnanimousness, munificent nature, Krishna appears as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Tyaktva sudusteja surepsita rajan lakshmim dharmishta ari vachasa yat agar aranyam Maya mrigam daitayetsipam anudhavat vande mahapurushate charanarvindam. Tyaktva sudusteja surepsita rajya lakshmim. Rajya Lakshmi, giving up Lakshmi Devi, everything, the opulence of the spiritual world, Krishna comes. Tyaktva sudusteja surepsita rajya lakshmim dharmishta ari vachasa yat agad aranyam. And then Krishna goes in the forest. And so this shloka applies to all three, Lord Shri Krishna, Lord Ramachandra, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in connection specifically Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he goes to jungle taking sannyas, yat agad aranyam, maya mrigam daitam epsitam in anvadhavat. Those living entities, maya mrigam, they are running behind the pleasures, or temporary pleasure of material world, maya mrigam. Behind these, maya mrigam daitam epsitam anvadhavat, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu runs behind them to save them. Take up Krishna consciousness, take up Krishna consciousness. Vande Mahapurushate Charanarvindam. To that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I offer my respectful obeisances. So again, Mahaprabhu is every opportunity Mahaprabhu is taking to connect all the living entities back to Krishna. And Krishna Varnam Tusa Krishnam Sangopanga Sriparshadam Yagnir Sankirtanam Prayir Yajanti Hi Sumedasaha. So various aspects of Krishna. Krishna Varnam, Krishna Varnayati, he is describing Krishna. Krishna ka Varnan karte hain. Krishna Varnayati. And Sangopanga Sriparshadam. So various aspects. Krishna comes, his associates with his astra. So astra, beauty. Astra, the weapon is mentioned as beauty. Beauty is Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's weapon. He just looks at, anybody looks at Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he gets enchanted. Just like when Mahaprabhu goes to South India Yatra, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya tells that you go, but I have a request. In Madras, you will find one devotee, Ramanand Rai. Apparently, he is the governor, but he is an exalted devotee. He is a very great devotee of you. So go and meet him. As Mahaprabhu goes there, Mahaprabhu goes and he is sitting there and just waiting. And then Ramanand Rai comes with the entourage of 1,000 Brahmanas. As mentioned, he is being carried on the palanquin. 1,000 Brahmanas are glorifying. And it's very, very pompous ceremony. And as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sees him, he desired to go and meet Ramanand Rai. But he restrained himself, thinking, what will people think about a sannyasi going and meeting a governor? But then he waited for a while, and then Ramanand Rai comes and starts discussing with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So it's mentioned there, very beautiful shloka. It says that Sata Surya Sama Kanti. Mahaprabhu's effulgence, the brilliance is compared to 100 suns. Sata Surya Sama Kanti Kamala Nayana. His eyes are very beautiful like the lotus petals. And Dirgha Bahu Jena Aruna Vasana. The cloth is Arunodaya, that color when there is rising of the sun. And Mahaprabhu is looking very beautiful. And just by looking at him, Ramanand Rai says, just by looking at you, all these 1,000 people, they are stunned. They are getting tears. So that is the beauty of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Prabhupada has mercifully given us this Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has given us merciful so that when we read these pastimes of Krishna, when we hear about pastimes of Krishna, we get the desire to have darshan of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu once. Similarly, in Jagannath Puri, when they go for darshan, all the devotees of Mahaprabhu, they go for darshan, they are circumambulating the temple of Jagannathji, and Mahaprabhu is dancing ecstatically, and sometimes anybody in periphery, he comes, Mahaprabhu embraces him, and he gets love of God, he starts shivering, he gets tears. So that way, Mahaprabhu is in every way trying to bring living entities back to the spiritual abode, the most beautiful, the most enchanting, the most blissful planet, universe. And then same anxiety Mahaprabhu expresses to Sri Chaitanya, Sri Haridas Thakur. When there is discussion between Haridas Thakur and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu inquires from Haridas Thakur. He's expressing his anxiety. This is from Antya-lila, chapter number 3, text 51. Let's recite the shlokas. Chapter 3, text 51. Okay. Okay, हो गया? Antya-lila, chapter 3, text 51. इहा सवार को नमते हईबे निस्तार ताहार हेतु ना देखिए ए दुख अपार. Translation: how will these Yavanas be delivered? To my great unhappiness, I do not see any way. Mahaprabhu is expressing his anxiety. Purport Prabhupada says, this verse reveals the significance of Lord Sri Chaitanya's appearance as Patita Pavana. Going further down, the next paragraph, those who are following in the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu should take the Lord's mission most seriously. In this age of Kali, people are gradually becoming less than animals. Nevertheless, although they are eating the flesh of cows and are envious of Brahminical culture, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is considering how to deliver them from this horrible condition of life. Thus he asks all Indians to take up his mission. Bharata bhumi de haila manushe janma jara janma sarthaka kari kar para upakara. One who has taken his birth as a human being in the land of India, Bharatvarsh, should make his life successful and work for the benefit of all other people. It is therefore the duty of every advanced and cultured Indian to take this cause very seriously. All Indians should help the Krishna consciousness movement in its progress to the best of their ability. Then they will be considered real follower of our Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Unfortunately, even some so-called Vaishnavas enviously refuse to cooperate with this movement, but instead condemn it in so many ways. So if we claim to be real followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we should take this responsibility seriously. Elsewhere, Prabhupada says that in same context, Prabhupada says in one purport that here Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is expressing his anxiety and Haridas Thakur is consoling him. Next shloka, 52. So Haridas Thakur consoles Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Haridasa kahe Prabhu chinta na kariha yavanera samsara dekhi dukha na bhaviha. Haridas Thakur replied, my dear Lord, do not be in anxiety, do not be unhappy to see the condition of the Yavanas in material existence. These words of Sri Haridas Thakur are just befitting a devotee who has dedicated his life and soul to the service of the Lord. When the Lord is unhappy because of the condition of the fallen souls, the devotee consoles him, saying, "My dear Lord, do not be in anxiety. This is service. Everyone should adopt the cause of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to try to relieve him from the anxiety he feels. This is actually service to the Lord. One who tries to relieve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's anxiety for the fallen souls is certainly a most dear and confidential devotee of the Lord. To blaspheme such a devotee who is trying his best to spread the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the greatest offense. One who does so is simply awaiting punishment for his envy." So this is the duty of the servant, of a devotee who claims to be devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to console the Lord, that, "Dear Lord, please do not be in anxiety." How then further in the further discussion it is mentioned, Haridas Thakur says that just by chanting your holy names, everything will be taken care. Eka Krishna Nama Kare Sarva Papakshaya. Just by chanting once. And then Mahaprabhu is describing about, okay, those who cannot chant, what about them? Then Haridas Thakur says they're just like trees, creepers, plants. Even if they cannot chant, but just by hearing, when the devotees chant loudly, just by hearing the holy names of Krishna, they get delivered. So time and again, Prabhupada mentions the importance of Harinam Sankirtan. This is the most effective way of converting conditioned souls or attracting the conditioned souls to Krishna. So that is why Prabhupada, he oftentimes said, in fact, when Prabhupada went to meet Indira Gandhi in 1971, Prabhupada had various points she proposed that this should be implemented. Then the ruling will be very easy. One of the points was Prabhupada says that all the member of parliaments should go every day, at least twice, for Harinam Sankirtan. Prabhupada is talking about MPs, member of parliaments. Now, one gentleman became the chief minister of West Bengal, and the video is going on internet that he is performing Mahaprabhu's Abhishek and he is dancing in Kirtan, Nadiya Godrume Nityananda Mahajan. But Prabhupada had the ambitious goal to convert all the MPs going for Harinam Sankirtan at least twice a day. Not only that, judges, High Court judges will put tilak. And if we have dedicated our life for Sankirtan movement, then it is befitting for us to go regularly, if not every day. And Prabhupada says it's so effective, Harinam Sankirtan. Prabhupada says, interesting, some point of time, Prabhupada even used to say that Harinam Sankirtan should not stop. Prabhupada, if needed, lock the temples. Of course, that's not the literal, it's not to be taken literally. But Prabhupada says that if needed, the temples can be locked, but everybody should go out on Harinam. Once Prabhupada says, this is Srila Prabhupada Lilamrit, chapter 49, India, unifying ISKCON, returning to Vrindavan, uniting the two worlds. Prabhupada said the batches of devotees should come to Mayapur so that there should always be 500 men present. Then a devotee said, in America they are trying to chant more 12 hours a day, trying to get a 24-hour Kirtan schedule. Yes, everywhere, Prabhupada said. Srila Prabhupada said, this chanting should go on. Instead of meetings, resolutions, dissolutions, revolutions, and then no solutions, there should be chanting. Of course, Prabhupada himself exemplified management. Devotees come together. Prabhupada established GBC. There should be all the organized aspects of organization. At the same time, the chanting, Harinam Sankirtan should not be neglected. It is one of the most, it is the most aspect of Krishna conscious movement. And we should take anxiety to perform Harinam Sankirtan or to facilitate Harinam Sankirtan in whatever way. Do whatever so that it supports Harinam Sankirtan. And Prabhupada, just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in anxiety and Haridas Thakur consoles Mahaprabhu. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada carried on that anxiety. Narada Muni travels everywhere just to bring living entities back to Krishna. Similarly, Prabhupada carried on that anxiety. So many pastimes. How Prabhupada took anxiety. There was once an incident when Prabhupada went to Kolkata. And there were so many problems in ISKCON Kolkata. And everybody was unsatisfied. And as Prabhupada came, all the devotees, Prabhupada called for a meeting, and His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj writes very nicely in this book, Dancing White Elephants. I'll read out from this book. Prabhupada had a meeting, each devotee was given a chance to speak, and everybody was just pouring out their frustration. This problem, this problem, this problem. When Prabhupada started speaking, Prabhupada said again that we were spiritual beings. Eternal souls. Our body, mind, and intelligence cover the soul and were animated by the soul. But unlike the soul, we were temporary. The soul is eternal. Prabhupada said, and God Krishna is also eternal, and our relationship with Him is eternal. That relationship is one of bhakti, devotional service to Krishna. Prabhupada urged us to focus on our spiritual nature and not on the soul's transient coverings. He encouraged us to engage in spiritual activity, bhakti, by dedicating our mind, words, and body to Krishna's service without material motivation. Only in that way, he said, would we find lasting happiness. And then Prabhupada goes on further saying that he was telling us what he perceived as the truth. Prabhupada did not say that, okay, do this, do this. Of course, Prabhupada formed a committee also. And Prabhupada was appealing to the higher nature. Rise yourself. Then Prabhupada says that same thing Maharaj has offered in Prabhupada's Vyas Puja offering in 2014. Prabhupada says, everything for Krishna and nothing for me. He mentioned how he struggled to get the passage to America, and then on the way he suffered 2 heart attacks at sea. And even when he got to America, he suffered in so many ways. He had some buzzing sound in his ears and his head. I cannot even describe how much I suffered, nor do I want to, Prabhupada says. And Yamuna Mataji says, he said, in the same connection, Yamuna Mataji was present in Calcutta in that meeting. He said that we were all here because Prabhupada had followed the instructions of his Guru Maharaj and come to the West. And then he added with great emphasis, do you think it was easy for me to leave India all alone and come to America? And none of us had ever really thought like that, whether it was easy or hard. We had just assumed that Prabhupada had done that by Krishna's mercy. So we generally think Prabhupada went, he traveled 12 years, 108 temples, so many books, but before that, so much struggle. There's a book by Prabhupada's disciple Hargis Mula Prakriti Mataji. Our Srila Prabhupada, a friend to all. Prabhuji oftentimes quotes that from that book. Very beautiful, everybody should read that book. We hear what Prabhupada went through after 65, but 1965, pre-65 days, Prabhupada met so many God brothers, sadhus. All those devotees' interviews are taken and Mataji has compiled in this book. So much struggle. It's mentioned once that Prabhupada was in Vrindavan, in Vamshi Gopal Mandir, on the first floor. It was December, means winter, and Prabhupada had fever. Prabhupada was sleeping on the floor, not even chatai. December of Vrindavan. And Prabhupada is 70 years almost. Prabhupada is shivering. When God brothers comes and says, Swamiji, why don't you get a mattress at least? Otherwise, you will die. Prabhupada says, no, I want to save every penny for book distribution, for publishing books. That was the anxiety Prabhupada took. Not only this, so many more. Then Yamuna Mataji says that, and Prabhupada came from a very highly cultured background where his mother was carried in a palanquin. And here he has to live among the hippies. Prabhupada says, do you think it was easy for me when I was in Butler, Pennsylvania? I opened the refrigerator and there was cat food next to my vegetable. Do you think that it was easy for me? And all the devotees began to cry because they have begun to understand that what Prabhupada did for us. So from all the culture, being amongst hippies, Prabhupada took all the struggle just to take anxiety for Krishna. So this Prabhupada is urging that if you take anxiety for Krishna, then Prabhupada says, so much more, I don't wish to even describe how much I went through. So if you take such higher anxiety, then our lower end anxiety is chapati nahi mila, rasgulla nahi mila, so, all these things just disappear if you have such anxieties. All these things will not just matter for us. So we should desire to pray to Krishna, to pray to Prabhupada, read these books, especially biographies of Srila Prabhupada, then we get intense desire to spread Krishna consciousness. Brahmanand Prabhu mentions in that book Swamiji. Brahmanand Prabhu says once we went for program and Prabhu was sitting in the back seat with Prabhupada late at night, almost 11:30, 12 o'clock. When they were returning to the temple, Prabhupada was almost dozing. He was feeling very tired. Prabhupada almost on the shoulder of Brahmanand Prabhu and in the lap of Brahmanand Prabhu, Prabhupada almost started sleeping. Such an intimate moment of pure devotee of Krishna sleeping in the lap of Brahmanand Prabhu. Such fortunate souls. Then Brahmanand Prabhu writes in that book, here is my spiritual master. He has given every inch, last inch of his energy for serving Krishna. Brahmanand Prabhu writes, Prabhupada got up in the morning at 1 o'clock, wrote books, translated books, attended Mangala arati, chanted rounds, went for morning program, gave a class, guided devotees, had meetings, went out for preaching programs, and then had appointments. Various delegates came and met Prabhupada, guided them, responded to the letters, correspondence, went out for a program, and then at last, when Prabhupada is coming from late at night, Prabhupada has given every inch of his energy, last left out energy for serving Krishna. So that is the parampara we belong to. That is the acharya we are follower of. So much extending. Unfortunately, we don't have that desire. So we should pray to Prabhupada, we should cry to Prabhupada that please give us an inch of that desire. We can extend ourselves to serve. In 1974, Prabhupada's health went down and Prabhupada was on bed. He could not even move properly. He could not get up also. He could not sit. He was just on bed rest. And Prabhupada got to know on a request of a friend, the governor of Uttar Pradesh was visiting temple. And he was a Muslim. And Prabhupada got to know, Prabhupada says, I will go and meet him. Devotee said, no, Prabhupada, please don't come. We will do everything on your behalf. Prabhupada says, no, I will come. Probably he will be helpful for getting cement bags, permission, temple construction. 1974, temple construction was going on. Prabhupada says, I will. Prabhupada is adamant, I will go and meet him. So as the governor came with 15 minuters, the police were there, police vans, they were adjusting the traffic, directing people aside. And the governor came and Prabhupada, Shrutakirti Prabhu dressed Prabhupada in silk dhoti. Prabhupada says, I will put tilak myself. Prabhupada is putting tilak. And it's mentioned in Lilamrit that Prabhupada took more than 5 minutes for putting tilak. Now we know, with a few months of experience of Krishna consciousness, we can put tilak. Just for 4:30, 4:27, 28, we're running. Sometimes devotees put tilak in the elevator. So expert, in half a minute or 1 minute we can put tilak. But here is Prabhupada, an acharya, for lifetime he has been putting tilak. And Prabhupada takes more than 5 minutes. So weak is his, frail is his health. And Prabhupada get ready. Nobody thought that Prabhupada would be able to stand. Prabhupada starts walking. The red carpet was rolled out. And all the devotees lined on the two sides doing kirtan. As the governor came, from here Prabhupada came. And as Prabhupada came, his eyes were very dark, very weak. Prabhupada stood and then he shook hand with the governor. He was very weak and devotees were in full anxiety. After a while, they all sat. Governor spoke for a few minutes and then Prabhupada stood. Devotees were urging Prabhupada, please don't stand up, please don't speak. First, no, I will speak. Prabhupada says, I'll just speak for 5 minutes. Prabhupada started speaking 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 25 minutes. Prabhupada spoke for 20 minutes. All the devotees were in anxiety, except the guests. Guests did not know what is going on in the mind of devotees. But devotees were in so much anxiety. Prabhupada, who was, for days, he has not even sat. He's standing and speaking for 25 minutes. And then Prabhupada started speaking for 25 minutes. Then they had prasadam together, lunch together. The governor went back, and then devotees carried Prabhupada back to the room. And immediately Prabhupada collapsed. And next for 2 weeks, Prabhupada had a fever, intense fever, 105 degree. So that is an acharya extending so much, just to take anxiety for Krishna. Like this, so many more paths. This is what we have heard. But throughout the lifetime of Prabhupada, so much Prabhupada has undergone. So we should do something befitting so that we can claim to be follower of Srila Prabhupada. Something tinge. Nothing, in whatever capacity, distribute prasad or go out on Harinam Sankirtan, organize preaching, in whatever way we can to our capacity. Then we can claim to be a follower of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada was here in Mumbai. Tamal construction was going on, Tamal Krishna, His Holiness Tamal Krishna, and so much anxiety. And Maharaj came to Prabhupada, and he told Prabhupada, Prabhupada, I'm in so much anxiety, I am not able to even chant my rounds properly. I quit. And Prabhupada says, even I am not able to chant my rounds properly. I also quit. There was pin drop silence between the two. And then it's mentioned that it was like one moment seemed to be eternity. And then Prabhupada says, but that anxiety will take you back to Godhead. So that anxiety, that's why Mother Yashoda took anxiety, and that's why she has that position of Mother of Krishna, that anxiety. And Prabhupada's disciples also carried their anxiety further. No difference between night and day or night. Earlier, I forgot who was mentioning, Prabhupada disciple was mentioning, that Devamrit Maharaj, His Holiness Devamrit Maharaj was mentioning, that earlier we went out on Harinam Sankirtan and book distribution, and we would return by 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, early morning, and then sleep for an hour and get ready for Mangalati. We continued that schedule till the time we started understanding health also is important. We have material body, we have to take care of it. This is with no concern of anxiety for the body. So Prabhupada had that Pandal program, and then one person, Parsi person or somebody, Arya Samaji challenged Prabhupada that you are preaching in Christian countries, Europe and America. What's so big in that? What's not a big deal? If you really have power, go to Pakistan and preach. And this is 1971 Pandal program. India-Bangladesh war going on. Prabhupada says, I take your challenge, I accept your challenge. Prabhupada told two disciples, Gargmani Swami and Brahmanand Swami then, you go to East Pakistan, you go to West Pakistan. No thought, no confirmation. He just went. And then Brahmanand Prabhu is in Pakistan, he's chanting, Saffron Dhoti Kurta, Tilak 700, chanting with Kartal Hare Krishna Mahamantra. People came and started spitting at him. They started threatening, live threats, that leave this country, otherwise we'll kill you. And one person grabbed Brahmanand Prabhu. He was almost about to slit his throat. But Brahmanand Prabhu was just confidently chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. The person got a shock that I have killed so many people, but I never saw such a person with such a confidence. As tum Allah ke bande ho, jinda peer lagte ho. But I request that please leave this country, otherwise somebody else will kill you. And then Prabhupada in anxiety, Prabhupada got this news that 2 Hare Krishnas were killed, 2 or 4 Hare Krishnas were killed. It was fake news to create some tension in the air. Then Prabhupada immediately wrote that please come back. And then Brahmanand Prabhu came. Prabhupada started hugging, embraced Brahmanand Prabhu, and just like a mother touches the face of the child, similarly Prabhupada started touching each part of Brahmanand Prabhu's body, just like a child, and both have had tears. Even now there's that video, Brahmanand Prabhu recalls that incident and he starts crying. So the point is taking anxiety for Krishna. If you claim to be a follower of such a Yuga Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, then we should do something worthwhile, so that when we go back, when questioned what did you do, we have something, at least 1%, 2%, something to tell to Srila Prabhupada or to Krishna that we did something. And so that's the desire of Krishna, to bring all the living entities back to Krishna. There is the same anxiety Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has. Haridas Thakur consoles that by doing Harinam Sankirtan, all these living entities will be delivered. And following the same line, Srila Prabhupada is taken anxiety, stretching himself so much. And following the same line, Prabhupada's disciples have taken anxiety. And following the footsteps, we should also mold our life in a way to do something worthwhile. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Any question? Yes, ma'am.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for very wonderful class. So in purport, it is mentioned that how the Krishna desires his, clearly mention his desire in the Bhagavad-gita, that is Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. So, and also you narrated very beautifully how Krishna, because of living entity's desire, material world is created, and Krishna is coming to take him back in various incarnation and performing various pastimes. So my question is that what will inspire a living entity to turn towards Krishna and give up his material attachment, material desire, not in terms of just materialist, but even after becoming a devotee, one may hold on to this material attachment or material desire and does not aspire for pure devotional service. So what will inspire?
Krishna's beautiful pastimes, enchanting pastimes attract us. It takes time. Initially, when we read Bhagavatam, we feel sleepy. But eventually, if we consistently do it, if we put our sincere efforts, consistent efforts, just like His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu explains, when we read Prabhupada's books, yes, we understand concepts, philosophy, but we should not have the intention that I'll become an intellectual and show off to people. Our mood should be, Prabhupada with sleepless nights has given this purpose. So I want to do service to Acharya, to Prabhupada, to read his purpose, sincerely read his purpose. And then Krishna will reveal. Then gradually the relishment also will come in the pastimes of Krishna, in the philosophy of Krishna. Both rasa and tattva will be relishable. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita it comes, I don't recall where it is, but Mahaprabhu says that Ei Murkha, that living entity, he is serving me but still desiring material desires, material sense gratification. He is foolish. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that Ami Bigya, I know everything. Vishay Kena Diba, I do not give him that poison of material sense gratification. Swacharanamritadiya Vishay Bhulaiba. Then Mahaprabhu says somebody is struggling between sense gratification and Krishna consciousness. Then Krishna says that Mahaprabhu says, mercifully I gave him the nectar of my lotus feet, by which he can forget the poison of material sense gratification. So if we consistently cling to this, methodically, even if we don't get the relishment, a dry period comes in life, but still if we do it as an obedience to Prabhupada's process, to the senior devotees, to our mentors, then Krishna will see that even if he does not have relishment, still he is continuing. Seeing that, Krishna gives us that relishment, and then we can continue. And once that relishment comes, then we can just go on. And one of the very powerful way to relish Krishna consciousness, as Prabhupada says that if you want to remain happy in Krishna consciousness, then distribute my books. But if you want to remain in Krishna consciousness, then read my books. So if we read Prabhupada's books, we'll remain in Krishna consciousness. If we distribute Prabhupada's books, we'll remain happy in Krishna consciousness. So much, Krishna will do so much of miracles at every moment. Such things happen. There's one incident, devotees were distributing books in I don't know which country. They parked Sankirtan bus at night, and at night when they were sleeping, one police van came, and then devotees, the police came and then they called everybody out. Devotees came out, they were all in gamcha, they were smearing their eyes, what happened, they were half sleepy. And then police said that, hands up, hands up. They were putting torch in the eyes, and devotees hands up. Then the police, all the gunmen, around 10 gunmen came pointing gun at the devotees. And the police asked, what are you doing here? And the devotee blurted out that we are distributing love of God. The police says that, prove it. Then the devotee went inside and brought Bhagavad-gita. Here is love of God. And then the leader, he opened the Bhagavad-gita, so the first page, oh, Swami Prabhupada. Fine, very nice. He took Bhagavad-gita, and then he gave some donation, and then he told all these 10 constables or his subordinate, everybody should go get a Bhagavad-gita and give donation. Now the devotee is surprised. Then this person told them, when I was in university, this Hare Krishna devotees used to come and distribute prasadam. So I was very much attracted. And I had heard this long back, but then recently we went in Govardhan, and there's a devotee, His Grace Braja Bihari Prabhu. He was one of these Sankirtan devotees, and he narrated this person that this happened. It was very nice to hear from them. So that's how it happens, and such magical miracle thing happened. Every one of us who have distributed books have that experience, that relishment. And once we get that chaska, then it's sufficient to continue. Hope that makes some sense. Some comments from senior devotees. Okay. Granth-raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Prabhupada's transcendental book distribution ki, Yugadharam Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Anand Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.